Hello, my name is Michael. As you might have seen by this video, it's a bit of a video diary, a bit of a video log. In a sense, it's mainly for myself, but obviously if this conversation I have with myself today on the camera helps anyone else, obviously I suppose that's a good type of thing. Really what today is about is me sort of documenting the start of a journey for myself, start of something new. Um, the reason I'm doing it this way, and I know this will sound absolutely ridiculous to some people and you won't understand it, I am a very socially awkward type of person. I kind of find it hard to build relationships and engage with people. Um, I don't know if it's linked to empathy and emotion, but sometimes when people are talking to me, I can feel quite distant and sort of in a sense like, well, I don't care type of thing, which is a really sort of bad trait to have. So I sort of, in a sense, I enjoy my own company. I sort of enjoy the peace and quiet in a sense, but obviously normally with a bit of chaos around us in a sense. So you'd have seen by obviously probably by the name of this video and maybe in the description of it, and obviously by the name that I've given myself as co-parent papa. This year, my life was turned upside down, and today is the day of really, I suppose I've hit rock bottom and something needs to change. So really, this is for me to look back on and go, you know what, you were there. That was the lows of the lows, and hopefully I'm going to reap the rewards of the future. So I don't want to cry. So really, to explain why I'm doing this, in January this year, my wife of 6 years, who I'd been with as a partner for 16 years, said that she was moving out of this house. She'd been to look at a house in a nearby town to where I live, where obviously where a lot of family members of hers live, but really it's only 10 minutes away from where I'm currently based now. But said she'd been looking at a house there, she's accepted it, and really she was going to be taking the keys in February. If I'm going to be honest, she'd forewarned me about wanting to live back where she was. Wasn't a new type of thing. If I'm going to be honest, the house that we're in, for me, I love the location of it. Is the house a bit crap and a bit, obviously it's a private rental, is it a bit tatty around the edges? Yes, it is, but really the rent that we pay for it, especially in today's market, well, sorry, we pay for it, I pay for it in today's market, is incredible. So in a sense, I see it as it'd be ridiculous to give it up, especially obviously where I am right now. But anyway, she said she was leaving. She said, obviously, I sort of said, you know what I mean? Where does that leave us? So, well, we'll work on something, we'll do something. So you can't fully live with us, obviously, due to, obviously, some stuff, but child benefit purposes and stuff like that to help her afford the house. So unfortunately, I myself, as I've mentioned, am socially awkward. I can be quite passive, and I suppose I can let myself be walked over in a sense to try and avoid confrontation. Quite often I'll just roll over or accept things, and I won't confront situations. So I sort of had to roll with the punches, and really, but I suppose maybe 2 weeks into the process, I got obviously the feeling that this isn't something that's just like a temporary thing, in a sense of this is like a final, this this situation, me, her, and the kids, it's going to be something that's going to disappear and type of thing. And to be honest, really, the week of our moving out, it probably got a bit nasty. Some things were said. Probably more for the fact that I was upset, if I'm going to be honest. But even after 2 weeks of our being there and a divorce paper thing coming through to us, I suppose I've lived a lie in a sense. In my job role that I do, I sort of play a character in a sense. I work in sales. I know most people think salespeople are arseholes, and to be honest, I don't like being sold to. I hate going to a shop or anything like that and being approached by a salesperson. Even like charity, when the charity beggars are on the street, I can't say no. I've signed up to so many donate. Obviously, I cancel the direct debits usually once after I've donated once, but I've signed up to so many stuff, and it's just because I sometimes I can't say no. And like I said, it's part of my trade of people pleasing. I don't just want to say, go on, you, go away. So obviously now, which seems very rude, if someone tries to approach us in that type of sense, especially like charity people or anything like that, I pretend like I'm ignoring them. I walk past them. I pretend to pick up my phone or something like that. It's bad, but, and it's just because I won't tell someone, sorry, I'm not interested, no, go away type of thing. But yeah, okay. I've sort of lost track of that, but yeah, I'm so used to sort of putting on a persona, I suppose, to people in sales. Obviously, I have clients. I see the clients on a daily basis, and really, they all ask us, "Oh, how's the family? How's this?" And because I've been at where I've been for the last 4 years, nearly 5 years, they know me. Obviously, they know about my children. They know about my partner. Well, they knew about my wife. They knew about what she did for work, and they would ask about that, ask how our business was going, ask how this was going, and I suppose I've lived in a lie. I've sort of been, you know what I mean, just going, oh yeah, everything's great. Oh, she's got a show coming up here. She's doing that, and I've sort of acted like nothing's type of wrong in a sense, and I've sort of held on to hope that we've had a couple of rocky patches in the past. Obviously, one of them was made by me, and I'll totally admit that and put my hands up. One of them, obviously, when my first daughter, obviously, technically she's my second daughter, because when me and my partner got together, she already had a child, and I've become her dad. But my first official daughter, probably 2 years into her being here, things got a bit rocky, and we did actually separate for a little bit. In a sense, we took a bit of a break. I went to go live somewhere different. Obviously, I was still there like 3 days a week at the home, but we sort of took some space from each other and came out the other end of it. And then obviously, eventually, really, we got married. So, but anyway, getting back onto things. Like I said, I've lived a lie. I've told people that everything was fine, and I've held on to the hope that even though, which this is going to sound ridiculous, even though I'd received divorce papers, and even though we've not really spoken apart from when I've been able to pick up my kids, which is obviously a positive out of this. There's a lot of co-parents. Well, there's a lot of parents out there that the marriage breaks down or the relationship breaks down, and you know what I mean. You're having to go through the courts and that to try and get thingy to see your kids. And obviously, I've someone I know is going through that process right now. Obviously, I don't speak to him. It was someone that was a childhood friend, and obviously, because of social media, I've seen the stuff, and you know what I mean. It's sad. So I am so lucky to have that type of fact. And if I'm going to be honest, my kids are the reason I'm still here right now. I've had some dark thoughts going through my head, and especially in the last 2 days, which is why I'm recording this video. Obviously from hitting rock bottom, and you might be thinking, how is it taking me from the end of January to now the 15th of July to go, and enough's enough, it's the end. Is my ex-partner has now got another male friend in her life, and I suppose that's the full realization has fully hit me that this is never going to happen again. This isn't a case of I could have maybe worked on it. And I thought, to be honest, if I'm going to be honest, this is going to sound ridiculous. Every time I was going to see the kids, it was amicable. We were having a nice chat. Obviously, I was well, generally interested in how she was and how she was getting on. And if I'm going to be honest, she sort of had a bit of a hot girl summer. Not in the sense of going around being what you call it, but in the sense of she's obviously lost a lot of weight. She's trying to keep fit. She's looking incredible. She's probably doing stuff that she hadn't done with me for years. And I suppose on the flip side of it, I've probably caused that the way I am. And obviously, I think as I've mentioned, the way I put on a persona, it's something I think I've done my whole life. And I think when we first got together, the version of me she met was what I portrayed, what I wanted her to see, and what I portrayed to people. And I think as times went on, and I'm 36. We got together when I was 20. I suppose in a sense I've sort of got to a stage of because I don't socialize with people and things like that, and outside of my work environment, that I sort of don't care. And I think sort of that's what's sort of, you know what I mean, today is the day for me now. Is obviously, as I've mentioned, I've had some dark thoughts, and and obviously I've spoken to my partner about it. And obviously she's not been supportive about it. Of course, pretty much I'm a selfish arsehole for even thinking about something like that, because I've got kids and they love me. But I sort of feel like my world's ended, if I'm going to be honest. I've just I'm sorry. But yeah, I feel that yeah, that life's over. Like, I've got the kids today. Well, one of my middle child's at school. The littlest one's actually having a nap at the minute. We went for a walk, and the oldest is 18. Obviously, I don't need to hang around with her at the minute. She's too busy wanting to speak to her boyfriend on the phone. But yeah, but I drop them back off of their mum tomorrow, and I don't know. Yeah, if I'm going to be honest, this situation means not just a case of my marriage breaking down, but 2026 is, yeah, it's definitely been the worst year of my life. See, to compound things of how it's going on, my work. I've said I work in a sales environment. And this happened at the back end of last year, November, and I was actually on holiday when it happened. I was with my family, with my wife. We were on a family holiday together. That where work went into administration. Obviously, it was a shock out of the blue. Obviously got phoned up by my colleague at 7 o'clock in the morning, the day after it happened. To say, and obviously, yeah, so that was a rock. But to be honest, my wife was a rock. She was, don't worry about it, Michael. It's, you know what I mean. I'm got my business. I've got this. It's a case of, if I did lose my job, you know what I mean. We don't have a big rent to pay out. Obviously, what you call it, obviously you've got the welfare system in a sense. You know what I mean. We'd be fine. Things would be tight, but we'd be all right. Obviously that's turned out to be an absolute lie, because it's her wanting to move out wasn't just a thing that happened in January. This obviously, it's been something that's been brewing with her for a while, and obviously I'm to blame for, I suppose, that having the blinders on, that sense of, and I said in a sense of like not caring. In a sense, I've had the blinder. I've been, you know what I mean. That I've missed the signs. I've missed this, and obviously I'm to blame for that. Obviously I can put blame onto her that she didn't approach me in the right way, maybe, to say that she was, how she was feeling. And I think that's one of the things that's upset me today. And obviously, if I could have, obviously I had a chat with her and speak with her, that she doesn't see anything wrong with the situation that she's in, that she's got a new partner. Obviously it's still in the early days. Obviously, it's one of them. She doesn't see it as she doesn't see the bad things about it, because, you know what I mean. I suppose she's felt this way, that she's been out of this relationship probably for over 12 months. And obviously she said to us today on the phone when she was given us the divorce papers, when the divorce paper came through, that obviously that was her final. She was checked out of this relationship completely. And I suppose I've not been. She's been one of the first things I think about when I've woken up. I've still had pictures up in the house of when we got married. We've still got a plaque about like when we had our party celebration of Mr. and Mrs. God knows what I'm going to do with that type of stuff now. But anyway, yeah. So, like I said, I'm at the lowest point of my life. Administration. Obviously, to compound things. Obviously, it was part of like this administration thing. My job's, it's not at risk, I've been told. But obviously, what you call it. But when you work in sales, one of the biggest part of working in a sales environment is you get paid commission. And as soon as you say the magic words to someone, oh, by the way, we're in administration, you know, I wouldn't spare my money. It's, yeah. So I suppose I'm stuck in a rut in my work life, that I'm chasing a goal of something that's probably not going to happen. And I know some of you might be thinking, well, get another job. And obviously my boss doesn't really know this, but I have applied elsewhere. To be honest, not into sales roles, but I couldn't even get a job at Farm Foods. That is that's how mental things are now. I've worked in customer service all my life. I've worked in a shop environment. I've worked in retail in a cooperative shop. I've worked tills. I've done stocks taking. I've done stocks replenishment. I did night shifts for a co-op where me and another gentleman were trusted for the keys for the shop. I had keys for the safe. I was putting out cigarettes and stuff like that. Farm foods. It's it's. I don't want to sound derogatory, but it wasn't rocket science. It's something I'd done. I worked as an administrator on somewhere where I handled thousands of pounds of cash and did health and safety and stuff. I should be able to and fit into an environment like that. I couldn't even get an interview. So obviously I'm sort of a bit stuck in the situation. And part of the other thing is I love where I work. The environment of the place is amazing. And although as a salesperson, am I going to make millions of pounds working at the place that I do? No, not at all. But it's sort of like feels like a bit like home in a sense. It's lovely people, a lovely place, and I've never worked in a place like it. If I'm going to be honest, I've worked in sales on and off 15 years. Well, sorry, not 15 years. That's a big exaggeration. Sorry, 12 years of my life. And yeah, so that's the type of thing. So we'll see this different file like that. And next point of why I feel so low, because some people might be thinking, why wife and kids, why would you feel the way you do? My dad, who's sorry, I'm going to well up again. My dad, who's had cancer in the past, he's had it twice now. It's come back again. And he's gone for treatment, and he doesn't know I feel like this way, but on his first spell, when he first had it, and how much aggressive the treatment was, he said, I'll never go through that again. He said, if I've got to get treatment like that again, I won't do it. And I'm scared that that's going to be a case of, if it gets to the stage that he needs that, and that he'll refuse to do it. I don't have a mum anyway. My mum passed away in a fire when I was 19. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell on that, but yeah. Today's rock bottom. Complete rock bottom. I need to try and stay strong for my kids. The most ridiculous thing, I've never obviously had therapy, or I never go to the doctors. Really, it's something I've avoided. And again, yeah, I suppose, like I said, that thing of avoiding people. Try to book an appointment a day. Obviously, to see someone. Even just, yeah, staff training. Or surgery only does e-consults before you speak to a doctor. I'll have to fill my e-consult in tomorrow because they're closed for training. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow morning. It should have been my anniversary next week. I would have been with my partner for 23. Not for 23 years. Sorry, it would have been the 23rd of July. I'd have been with her for 17 years. And I'm currently right now just, yeah. So this is, yeah. This is rock bottom. This is the lowest of low. So if anyone feels the way I feel, you know what I mean. Don't do anything silly. That's something I need to repeat myself. Don't do anything silly. My kids love us. They're the reason I'm here. And like I said, tomorrow morning I'll be in touch with my doctor's surgery, and I need to do something. I know people say this place is like, this man club and that over there, but someone that doesn't like speaking, standing in a room, sitting in a room with like loads of men. Right now, unfortunately, I'm not that. That would be massively on my comfort zone. You might be thinking, why am I doing it this way? Well, it's a video log for me to look back on, to go, I was there, and this is where I am now. But it's like I'm speaking to someone, even though I don't really have subscribers or anything like that, and you know what I mean. I'm not some sort of big celebrity YouTuber or whatever. I'm speaking to someone. This is me trying to, yeah. I'm getting my thoughts out there instead of just. If I'm honest, I've slept 3 hours in the last 3 nights. I've not eaten since Monday afternoon at work. I had a packet of crisps when I was at work. The thought of eating right now makes me feel physically sick. Um, yeah, yeah, that's it. So we're not alone. Obviously, there'll be people. Hopefully, someone sees this and don't get to the stage I'm at. Yeah, tomorrow's a new day. Like I said, I've got work tomorrow. I'm going to be dropping the kids off in the morning in my wife's house. So I keep on saying it's my wife, and that's part of the lie. Anyone I saw my wife or even relating to people, you know what I mean? When I'm at work, me and my wife did this, me and my wife did that. Oh yeah, when we got married, we got it's. I think unfortunately, I'm probably gonna have to try and separate my life from her. She wasn't just my wife; she was my best friend. Really, like she was my rock. As I mentioned, socially awkward. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to try and I don't know, maybe speak to her to say I'm sorry, but can I maybe arrange to try and pick the kids up from your mum's house or something like that, just to try and so I don't see her because I'm I'm dreading tomorrow morning dropping the kids off and seeing her because like I said, we've spoken today, and to be honest, it was a bit of a speak. Part of it was a speak. I tried to get my point across. She just obviously just saw me as being argumentative in a sense. Um, it's not her fault at the end of the day. It's not my fault. It's both our faults, but unfortunately, it's not everyone wants to admit that. But yeah, obviously, if I see this, I'm sorry. Obviously, if any of my family members see this, yeah, you'll see where I've been. And like I said, if anyone knows me, sees this, that's it. It's yeah. Um, I would say reach out to me and say hello, but like I said, I'm bad. I had best friends before I got in my relationship, and if I'm honest, I sort of chose my relationship over them. Obviously, there was probably one member of my friend group sort of trying to warn me off getting with. This is bad. I'm saying her name. I'm saying her name. I shouldn't be saying her name. For this, this should be anonymous. But it's obviously if anyone obviously knows who I am. Obviously, I'm not putting my surname on this, but um, yeah. So yeah, it's the 15th of July. This is rock bottom. I'm going to speak to the doctors tomorrow. Probably end up in therapy or something like that. Probably end up on antidepressants. Yeah. So, to my family, I'm sorry. To friends who maybe see this, who I haven't met in the past, obviously, I'm sorry I closed myself off. I suppose now you got to look at who I am. Unfortunately, Michael is quite probably a mono person at the core, and I put on a persona, I put on a performance. So maybe to any of my friends from the past, the Michael you knew back then's not the Michael that's here now. Um, but yeah, thank you very much for listening. I know this seems mental, but I needed to speak to someone because I said I couldn't get a doctor's appointment till tomorrow. Well, I can't even speak to someone till tomorrow. What they're gonna do, and yeah, I suppose I could speak to the Samaritans or someone like that, but I wanted to document this to say this isn't the end. Thanks.